is Total Warhead, and in this video I want to showcase how to build priestesses in a Total War Saga Troy. There are three primary ways that I would say that you can build priestesses. Two of them are to embed them into the army that you want to boost their stats of, and you can either build them for missile damage increase along with other statistical increases. The other one is for melee purposes, with selecting one final skill to further boost melee attack or melee defense depending on the type of army that you're building. And finally, and this is my personal favorite, is Priestess to maximize favor gain. So let's go through the first one, Priestess missiles. So if we look at the summary on the left, we can see here that the bonuses that I've put together from Good Omens here increase the melee defense for units if the Omen is successful by 25%. Again, an additional 10% to missile damage of units with the Good Omens, and finally 20% to morale from Good Omens. So with the skills that I've selected here, if you build an army, for example, if you're playing Salamis with Ajax, and you want to build an army that you really boost up the Ajax wall or Ajax companion melee defense, you can do so, and then further boost up the stats of the Tesur Bowman or his elite slingers by 10%, and the extra morale cannot be understated, because the more morale that you have, the longer your unit models are in combat before they rout, which is a very, people tend to look at other statistics and ignore morale. Morale cannot be understated how valuable it is to keep increasing it. Now, let's go into the skills that I've selected. Actually, let me take a step back. Messenger of Thunder, just like Spies, you want to make sure that you get this across all your priestesses to lower their action cost and boost up their agent movement range by 15%. Now, in terms of the trait to get for the respective favor, when you're playing the campaign, right, if you look at my my video of how to get all the gods maxed out, you will notice that, and how to maintain the favor up there, right, so it doesn't deplete, you will notice that there's certain gods that you can acquire or do annexations to gain ancillaries to get +3 favor per turn for like Athena, for Ares, and then there's some Homeric heroes that have traits for like Apollo. There's like some characters that have traits for Aphrodite. So there's ways that you can boost up some of these so they don't drop, that much. The ones that I prefer to get extra favor from the traits of the priestesses are the ones that I know that there are not ancillaries or anything else that can offset them -3 favor per turn that I cannot reduce from the ancillary that, or the roll decree that boosts favor by +2 here, and from putting a warlord mentor or a defender protector on a garrison to boost up the favor for our respective god by 5. So that still leaves me by -3. The gods that I have not noticed that you can still gain traits or ancillaries for to get net 0 loss on favor, and I could be wrong here, this is just what I can remember off the top of my head, are Hera, I think Zeus as well, Poseidon maybe, and Artemis and Hephaestus. If I were to get any of these, I would try to perhaps go for all three of the favor gain from the traits of the priestesses to be Hera. The reason why I say that that's really valuable to do so is because if you maintain Hera above 600%, you will keep having 10% more casualty replenishment for all armies faction-wide and 20% to morale of all units in own territory. That last one is really valuable because these bonus statistics that you see for your own units apply to your garrisons, so that can really help you with auto-resolving against enemy armies. Additionally, the casualty replenishment rate of 10% is extremely valuable. It cannot be understated, getting 10% every single turn extra casualty replenishment and making sure that this does not drop below 600 so you don't lose that. So I'd say that Hera at the max level is very underappreciated. I don't see any other way from ancillaries or traits to be able to keep the favor up, so I would select all three of the traits for the priestesses to be from Hera, but there are other gods that you do not gain any favor from ancillaries or from Homeric character traits that you can also focus the trait on. Now, in terms of the skills for the priestess for missiles, so I want to go for the skills that boost up the chances of a Good Omen. And say a Good Omen is not successful, right? Say you're sieging a settlement and the Good Omen is not successful. You can just unsiege or just keep the siege active, go back to the campaign map, re-engage, and just keep rolling the Good Omen until it's successful. So you just keep doing this over and over until it works. And boosting up the chance of a good omen will guarantee you don't have to keep re-rolling that. And then from this one, I go for Omens of Resolution to get 10% to melee defense from good omens when embedded in the army. And then all three of these priestesses, I want to make sure that I can use them on enemy or on AI armies to get extra gold, similar to how spies are used on AI settlements to get more gold. Priestesses can get plus 10 gold from this skill, and then plus 30 gold from this one to get a total of plus 40 gold when successfully doing an action on a foreign army. So let's continue aside on the rest of the things selected. I like to go for Unlikely Advisor here because I want to build as many regions in the game as possible with Hephaestus to build resource buildings for free. So I don't really want Favour from Rituals to Hephaestus because there's not really any point of doing so. So Unlikely Advisor, I can increase success chance of all agent actions by 5%, and if I do any rituals, I can just further boost it up by 10% if I want to. Actually, looking at this now, I would say that going for this 10% to success chance of rituals is actually a waste. I would just go for Words of Doubt in case you're pushing towards the enemy and you notice a settlement that has a good favor that you can gain from it, then you can just go for Words of Doubt here. Now, in terms of what I select for the favor, even though this is a priestess that I would tie to an army, there are certain gods that I would select that I want to keep above 600 favor throughout the campaign. Those are Ares, because when Ares is above 600 favor, we can gain a plus 10 to charge of all units. That's a humongous increase to the charge of units in the campaign. Your heroes cost fear, which is extremely valuable, and Spartois can be recruited more than once in the campaign, so you can really get a lot of really good flanking units, and also you can use them at frontline, but just be careful because missiles will really hurt them. And they can self-heal 33% of their total losses, which is crazy. And also a prayer to Ares is extremely powerful because the prayer is mega powerful for offensive units, and the morale effect for enemy units of 20% reduction is also really good. Aside from that, the other gods that I would say that you should definitely get the favor from if you decide to go for these, to act on your own settlements, temples, are Apollo, so we can get that 25% extra royal decree, and also to be able to recruit seers. The turn that seers are available, you want to get them, so you keep maxing out favors with gods, and as you keep expanding and grabbing regions that have the same type of temple for a respective god that is not Hephaestus, when you get a seer available to be recruited, say you have 5 temples of Hera that you don't need, you destroy 5 of those temples, Hera will drop to 0. If you recruited the seer the turn before, the turn that the temples have been deconstructed, you use the seer wherever you have a temple of Hera still built, and you'll get it back to 650. So you can do that. Just make sure that getting this skill, you can keep Apollo above 600. I also want to keep Hera up, so this is why I go for Hera here. You can still go for Aphrodite because Aphrodite at 600 or more will let you recruit a satyr, but it's not like I really think a satyr is uber powerful to have, even though, I mean, I can't understate it. I just think the casualty replenishment is a really good thing to always have active in the game. And finally, this one is a tough one because Orion is an extremely valuable agent to have in the game, especially in the late game against large empires if you get to a campaign where the AI controls the other side of the map. So getting Artemis above 600 favor, it cannot be understated, but in service of Zeus is really valuable early to mid game to recruit the Minotaur, and also to get up to plus 10, I believe, influence if you get up to 10 alliances, and up to plus 5 happiness from alliances, which is really good, and you can offset the penalties of confederation to influence and happiness somewhat with having Zeus above 600 favor or more. Once you get to the late game, Zeus is no longer that valuable. You can just drop because you will start confederating a lot of your alliances and just becoming a single large empire. If you don't play like that and you maintain your allies throughout the game, I would say forget about Artemis here and just go for Zeus here. Hallowed Sage is the one that I go for here to be able to then get the 10% to extra missile damage from good omens for the units in the army. And I already talked about Wise Woman. So Contest of Ardor here, I select this option to get 10% to morale from good omens. And then this one here of Sibylla, I get 10% more morale from good omens. And I go for the option to increase melee defense in case my archers get flanked I can further improve their defensive capabilities so they don't get destroyed that fast. And finally, we get Assiduous here. So in case I fail an action, for example, trying to act on an AI army, then I can just go again and again and again until it's successful, just like the Spy's Cold-Blooded skill. And then I tend to boost the critical success chance of all agent actions because I think, I could be wrong, that plus 40 gold can be more if you have a successful agent action. And in the Mythos patch, the reduction to morale from doing a successful action on a foreign army, if it's a critical success, then that morale penalty is even bigger. How much that magnitude increases, I'm not certain, but definitely decreasing the morale is valuable while you also get gold. And finally, I go for Shielded by Olympus to make sure that I have a higher success chance of any agent actions, and enemy armies or enemy agents are not as successful against this priestess, and of course rejected by Hades, so the priestess is immortal. The next priestess that I want to select here is Priestess Favour. This, I think, overall is the most valuable way to construct the priestess because she can focus on doing three very important things. Say that you're in a situation where you have a main settlement. Actually, let me show a good example. Say you're playing Achilles, right? Like right here. And you don't push towards getting this major settlement and you see a temple constructed here and there's an AI army here. What you can do with this priestess to work around the cooldowns that you get from trying to get favor from your own settlements and from foreign settlements is you use her to gain favor from the temple built in your own capital. The next turn, you use her in the major settlement of the AI that you can get favor from the temple constructed there. Then you use her to act on a foreign enemy army to get plus 40 gold, do it again the next turn, and then rotate over to get favor with the god of your major settlement. And the cooldowns, of course, that turn have been finished, so you can just keep going over and over and over again across those 4 actions to maximize favor and gold gain as much as possible. So if we go here, right, and we look at what skills I go for to maximize favor, I go for Strict to get plus 10% more favor of gods and own settlements from own rituals. Then I get 10% more modified here, although there is a big penalty to happiness. In the early game, I'd say be careful selecting this. You might want to avoid this one because you want to be very careful with the rebellions as you keep building up your empire. Now, you still go for the extra gold no matter what, and you can still go to further reduce morale. If you don't go for the gold increases of plus 40 in total, you can get minus 5% morale to enemy units and minus 5% here to cause minus 20% morale to enemy units in a foreign army, which is a pretty steep drop, and you can stack that with the minus 25% that a spy can do, and the minus 20% that a prayer to Ares can also do. That gets you what, a total of minus 40, minus 65% morale to an AI, or to an enemy army, and doesn't even include how much it reduces if you have critical success chance with the agents. But I still say that going for the gold is more valuable. So that's how I structure this. And then Unlikely Advisor, I boost up how much favor I gain from rituals in enemy settlements because I know I'm going to be very successful on my own settlements when acting on them to gain favor. And then I go for the same favor gains for these respective gods: Ares, Apollo, Hera, Artemis, and you can switch it to Zeus if you want to. And then Harbinger of Sorrow here, I just go for this one because I'm not going to tie this priestess in an army, so I can gain an additional chance to cause an envoy of the AI to have to leave, or like just be wounded forever, which is extremely powerful. So I just go for this one. So she's basically built as an anti-envoy kind of agent. You can also build priestesses to further increase the chances of envoys or spies from leaving a faction. She doesn't get any bonuses from causing a priestess to leave a faction. She can get up to a total of 50% extra chance to cause a agent to leave, which is good, but I still prefer to get the other skill for the extra gold. Now going down, we go here for the extra gold as mentioned here, plus 30 from Wise Woman. And then because of those penalties that I'm gaining due to happiness whenever I am successful on my own settlement, I go here for Contest of Ardor to get plus 6 to total happiness in own settlement. And then here plus 2 more, so that's a total of plus 8, offsetting what I lose from the skill here of Doombringer. And then keep working my way here. What's the next one? I like to go for Protector of Asclepius, so I am injured for only 4 turns if I am wounded or I recall the priestess instead of 5 turns. And then Assiduous, so if I lose or I'm not successful against an AI army, I can keep doing the things over and over. and then I further boost up the favor gained from rituals in enemy settlements, and also an additional success chance of my own rituals. And I go, instead of getting shielded by Olympus, I actually go here to Foreshadower of Doom to get an even larger amount of favor from the gods in my own settlements, with a huge penalty to happiness and a huge action cost increase to Ritual of Exaltation. So if I were to use her here in this settlement, it does cost 1000 food, but let's see how much the favor goes up. 32 favor of Poseidon, which is not bad. So, you know, with that extra favor, I basically offset how much I lose in Poseidon every single turn by 10 turns, because that's how much I'm losing from Poseidon from not having any additional favor reductions of the -3 that I have not reduced. Now, the last one that I want to build is Priestess for melee from Good Omens. So instead of selecting all the skills that I selected before, actually it's just one skill difference, with the one for missile damage, I actually switch it to the one for melee attack here. So I further get I get an additional 10% to melee attack from Good Omens. Now, when you look at this and you think back of how I built the previous Priestess for missiles, you don't see the 25% to melee defense. So I did not select this final skill here, Omen of Invisibility and Omens of Survival. You can select which one of these you actually want to build. I would say that if you have a very offensive oriented army and your melee attack is already way insane, don't boost up the melee attack any further. If your melee attack is like 100, just forget about it. Just boost up your melee defense so your units have more survivability. So I would get the extra 15% to melee defense here. If you have very defensive units, then you can try to boost up the melee attack of the units so they become more probable to hit the enemy. So that is how I would build the priestesses overall. 2 of them tied to your own army to basically boost up offensive melee capabilities as much as possible, or melee and missile capabilities as much as possible. And then the last one, a hybrid to get as much favor as possible from your own settlements, AI based settlements with a temple in them, so you can get the highest amount possible, and also steal gold from the AI. That is everything I want to showcase for this video. I really want to thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye.